You were grounded and your dad taught you accounting. Did he see that as a little bit of a punishment? Was that what that was?
He definitely had creative ways to dissuade me from getting in trouble and forcing me to study college level material. He thought it was a very clever way to, give me a consequence. I wouldn't say it was truly punishment, but a consequence for my behaviors and decisions.
Well, did he become better able to teach accounting after teaching you?
Oh, he was a great teacher. It was never a question of his teaching ability. It was a question of the students, and accounting topics are difficult. And I think that there were, and even today when I'm interviewing like kids coming out of school and they're like, oh, my financial accounting, like I barely got a C, it was killing me, then they're typically just really difficult classes for students to do well. So, yeah.
So do you and your dad have conversations about why people don't go into accounting nowadays, since we've got such this talent shortage?
So he was a professor for about 20 years and he retired recently, actually during the pandemic. And when he retired, he said a lot of the way kids are coming into the program and the way they're approaching careers and thinking about things has changed significantly. And so, I think there is definitely a shortage of people if you look at the numbers, but there's also a difference in the way people are approaching it as a career. And so, we've had a lot of conversations about how do we fix that and get these kids coming into school to truly understand what the job prospects are, because it is no longer, general ledger work. It's not the same as it was even 20 years ago. When I started in the career, it's different. And, understanding the systems and understanding that they'll have to utilize really interesting tech moving forward to be able to do their jobs changes the way people approach the profession in total.
Yeah, and one thing I've noticed is, you're very entrepreneurial. I know that about you, just having multiple conversations with you. And our last conversation, and we'll get to this in a minute, was about the things that you're kind of investigating and that you're curious about in terms of like taking your career to another spot. And but what I was getting at is like you're entrepreneurial. A lot of the firms that are creating cloud firms or switching to cloud firms, and they're younger owners, they're really exciting businesses in a way that's very different than, the way traditional accounting firms operated even a decade ago. I think it's a changing field. It's an exciting field. It's too bad that students can't see enough of that. I think they're seeing it, but maybe they're not seeing it a lot.
They're starting to, and there's more and more people like myself attempting to speak to them about that, right? And figuring out ways to get the message across that this is no longer a suit and tie. You have one career trajectory to partner in a traditional CPA firm with billable hours in a pyramid scheme. There's all sorts of other opportunities and different ways to make it. And so, I think the more we can get people that are enthusiastic and excited and young and have a lot of energy speaking about these topics, the more people we will attract to the industry and the faster we'll close that gap.